Hello everyone, welcome to Australian Book Travels. As you can see, we are outside again. We are at home in Central Victoria at Australian Book Travels headquarters, HQ. I thought it would be lovely to sit out here. I am filming this on Sunday for you tomorrow, being Monday, because I am actually busy tomorrow. Well, I'm visiting, or I'm catching up with a friend, a really good dear friend of mine, and I haven't seen her for about 18 months. She has been very busy in her business, and I have been busy, extremely busy with the channel. So we decided finally that we would catch up tomorrow. She has a day available to have a morning tea, and I thought, okay, I will, I hope you don't mind, but I thought I would pre-record this, and then I can catch up with my wonderful girlfriend. I will actually talk about a little bit more about her and her business actually a little later, because she's a remarkable woman. Anyway, so we're here. This is Sunday. I think it's about 9:30 in the morning. I'm already perspiring. Even though it's a little bit cloudy, it's quite warm. So yeah, I apologise if I perspire. And also I do apologise for the sunglasses on my head. But there are two reasons for that. One is I walked from the house to here with them on my head, or actually on my wearing them, because the sun is quite glary. But I also thought once I put them on my head, it also kept my hair from blowing around everywhere. So I hope you don't mind. I'm almost using them like a headband. Lots of things today, a few books, and also a little explanation of things that are happening in the next couple of weeks. But before we do that, we are outside. Please forgive any noise that you hear. We are on a small farm here. You will hear the birds. You may hear geese honking. You may hear our rooster crowing. Anything could happen. The dogs are contained inside, so you won't see the dogs, but anything can happen. That's the way we roll here, and I hope you don't mind. Oh yes, before we go on, there are a couple of things I want to say. I think a week or so ago, I told you all about the kingfisher that we had here on the property, and we had never seen one here before. And that was really exciting. But what happened was yesterday, Saturday, I was walking in the garden, and in the corner of my eye, I saw something move. And as you may know, I had an encounter with a brown snake about a week. Yeah, last week it was. I had my toe touched its tail, or not quite, but we were toe to tail. Luckily, he or she slithered off, and once I regained my composure, I was very wary in the garden. So yes, yesterday I was walking in the garden, and a movement caught my eye, and as I looked, I could see the end of the creature, and it looked to be a large lizard, and it ran in here. This is our shade house, which we built this a few years ago so that we could grow our own seedlings and things, but that has sort of morphed now into just a little garden and sitting area. But I can explain a little bit more about that in perhaps like a sneaky midweeker. Anyway, so the lizard that I thought was just a sort of smallish lizard came in and was here, and I followed it in so that I could identify it, and he or she walked behind me into the gardens behind me. I think, well, it went towards our chickens, so I think it may have been after the chickens, but it turned out that it was a lace monitor. Now he or she was here for quite some time, so I did take about 3 seconds of footage and some photos. So I'll try and put them up here on the screen for you, or maybe block out my face and show you the photos that I could take. They're not brilliant, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to see. Lace monitors, this one was probably all up, tail included, was around about 1.5 meters. And I do believe that they get to around about 2 meters in length. They do and can attack mammals and chickens and chicken eggs. We have the geese. There is a possibility that if necessary, it would attack the geese. But we have quite a few geese, so hopefully they'll sort of protect each other. And we were reading that the bite of the lace monitor can be equivalent to a shark bite. I don't know how true that is, but in our research, that's what we found. So that was interesting. So we don't want to be bitten. But it was really lovely to see. Mark and I were really honoured that all this wildlife is happy to be here. We have kangaroos, a whole mob of kangaroos, probably between 50 to 100 at different times, just watering at our dam and sitting around in the paddocks. And of course we have the kingfish, and we have multiple birds now. We have blue-tongue lizards, we have snakes, and we have a bearded dragon. Now we have the lace monitor, which is so exciting. I can't tell you how exciting that was. And yeah, just some other insects. The property now is starting to get a lot of ladybirds, and so we're really honoured. And what happened after that, once I took photos and video, and I actually only took them on my phone, my little mobile. So I put my mobile back into the house, and I came out, and lo and behold, there were 8 beautiful pelicans flying literally not that far overhead. I could see them quite clearly. I could see their faces and their underbelly. There was 8 of them flying around, obviously looking for somewhere interesting. Unfortunately, they didn't think it was interesting enough, and they did fly off. But we have one pelican who comes here every year for a couple of days, no more than that at a time, and he sits on our dam, or he or she sits on our dam, and just spends a few days here and then flies off. So whether he or she has given the word out, I hope so, because if we have some more pelicans here, it would be wonderful. It's just lovely. Anyway, I wanted to tell you all of that. I didn't get the opportunity to video or to take a photo. They were probably too far up in the sky for the camera. They weren't for me. I could see them quite clearly. You could see detail on their body, but the camera may not have picked it up. So I didn't rush inside to get the camera because I thought it probably wasn't worth it. And very quickly they spiraled in the wind patterns. They spiraled up further and further. So they were getting further away. They weren't actually coming closer. But it was lovely. Yesterday was a lovely day because we had all of these beautiful wildlife. It was very, very exciting. We find that magical, actually. We came here, and look, I will explain this a little later to you, actually, but just very briefly, we came here, and this was an overgrazed, over-tilled paddock. There was literally nothing on it. It had been, overgrazed and over-farmed. It was dry. We came just at the beginning of a drought. So for quite a few years, if I can, I will put some photos up. Maybe not in this video, but in future videos, I will show you the difference between the property as it was bare and how it is now. We have I think we've put in probably close to 1,000 native and non-native trees, and we've had probably another 100 that we have allowed to revegetate on its own. And part of our property now half of the property now is dedicated to Land for Wildlife. But look, I will explain more about that in another video. I just wanted to tell you how excited we were at having these encounters yesterday. It was marvellous. It was really good. Okay, I hope you all have a lovely cup of tea or coffee or beverage, depending on what time you're watching this. I have a lovely Moroccan mint tea. So it doesn't matter if it goes cold because they're always nice cold. Oh, we have some crows. You probably hear them. Anyway, let's get into this. This first one I recommend. This is an Australian author, Australian publishing, independent publishing, and an Australian story. I think having commented, or having had interaction with a number of you, I think there are quite a few of you who will love this book. This is by Wendy Scarf, and it's called One Bright Morning. Wendy is now, I think she's around about 90 years of age. When she wrote this, I think she wrote this 2 years ago. It was published 2 years ago, I think. Let me have a look. I think it was 2022. Oh, where are you? It's by Wakefield Press. Oh, here we are. Yes, 2022, so 2 years ago. So she would have been 88 or 89 when she wrote this. She is an established author. She has quite a few books that she has written. This is amazing and you need to read it. That I really stress that. It is wonderful. Now, this is set, we begin in Kuala Lumpur. And our protagonist, Zenobia, her name is, but friends and family call her Zenny, and her surname is Haviland. Zenny, we begin in Kuala Lumpur. Zenny lost her mother when she was 7. She's very close to her father, who is living and working as a medical missionary in Burma. And she grew up in Burma. I think she was born in Australia. She is an Australian. We meet her when she has she's finished schooling at a boarding school in Melbourne, here in Australia. And she has been working for a little while in a newspaper in Kuala Lumpur. In 1941, I think we begin. Of course, the Japanese invaded Malaya, and the story then, it begins on the day where our protagonist Zenny finds out that Japan has invaded and they're heading towards Kuala Lumpur. Her father has already written to her and suggested that she leave for Australia. Our Zenny is very easygoing. She's only about 23 or 24. She's very easygoing, not really, she's quite unflappable, very sensible girl, probably a bit more mature for her age. And she sort of doesn't take it, I wouldn't say not seriously, but she, like probably most people, I don't think they could believe that they were being invaded, whether it's by Germany or in this case Japan. And she sort of takes her time, and she, instead of like everyone else getting on the train and heading to Singapore and then taking a boat to Australia, she goes to a friend's wedding. Anyway, she misses the train, of course, and she knows she's going to miss the train. She then gets a boat with a couple of men and they head to Australia. But there are a few things going on. There's a little bit of a mystery with these men. In fact, it's a mystery, and she's not allowed to tell anyone how she came to Australia. She finds herself in Darwin. Now, a lot of you may not know, you may do, but I know a lot of Australians, even now, would be surprised to know that in the Second World War, Darwin was heavily bombed by the Japanese. Now, Zenny finds herself in Darwin a few months before the bombing, and then Darwin is bombed. Now, at that time, it was in 1942, in February 1942, that the Japanese bombed Darwin, which for those of you who don't know, Darwin is in the Northern Territory, which is in the uppermost part of Australia. And at this time, Australia was really new as a nation. 1901 was when we really became a complete nation, one country, one body, one being. And this was in 1942. So we'd really only had 41 years of a government, one government, overruling and overriding the whole of Australia. So and of course in those days anyway, there was difficulty with transport and communication. So Darwin, our Zenny, finds herself in amongst the bombing, there's no communication, there's no rail or being able to travel down the centre of Australia to any of the other, Sydney or Melbourne. In amongst this, beforehand, she finds herself in being admired by two gentlemen, two completely different fellows, completely different ages. One is young, vivacious, gregarious. He is also, by the way, Zenny finds herself working on the newspaper in Darwin. And this fellow, Jimmy, is a young reporter with her, and she is living with a landlady who has another gentleman who is a little bit older. He has seen war. He is a little bit affected or damaged by what he has seen in the war already, and yet our Zenny is attracted to him. I'm not going to say any more. That is it. It is a beautiful love story. Nothing mushy, nothing romance. It's just a lovely, honest account of... It's fictional, but it's a lovely, honest account of how life goes and how we find ourselves in dilemmas of morality and ethics and who we are. Our strength, finding our strength in times of adversity. I absolutely love this. It talks about the war. The other thing Wendy Scuff is very good at, she is very economical in her prose. There's nothing too florally or flouncy or fluffy with this, but you still get, she's very talented and very capable of giving you that sense of atmosphere and what war was like and what Australia was like and the hardships and the camaraderie and all of that. So although it is only about, I think, 215 pages, let me have a look, 213 I think, 214 pages, so there is a lot of story in this, a lot of our Zenny's story in this, in the 214 pages. So as I say, she is economical with her prose, but it is effective. She's extremely effective in the way that she gives you the atmosphere and that love story, the romance. It's brilliant. I recommend it. As I say, it is by Wakefield Press, which is an independent publishing house. Wendy Scuff, who is an established author and a very good author. I really love this, absolutely loved it. I recommend it. That is One Bright Morning. That's that one. Now, one I read just recently, I bought this a long time ago, but I read it just recently. This is an English writer, Marty Wingate, The Bodies in the Library. This is a murder mystery. Lots of fun, comfy, cozy. Our protagonist is, she finds herself as a curator of a private museum, I guess you'd say, of Golden Age crime classics. And in the library of this private museum, one of the characters is murdered. and our protagonist is finds herself as a bit of a private detective, or a bit of a detective. She also finds herself in the midst of the criminal activity. I enjoyed this. It was a bit of fun. I thought it was perhaps a little slow at times, but overall a really good, comfy, cozy read. It does specialise in Agatha Christie, so if you're an Agatha Christie fan, this is definitely one to read. Yeah, just a little bit long-winded, perhaps. Maybe that's being a little unfair, but look, it's a good, comfy, cozy read. Now, this is by Berkeley Prime Crime in New York. I think it was actually published in Canada, to be honest with you. Of course, Berkeley Prime Crime are an imprint of Penguin Random House, but I think this was printed. Yes, it was printed in Canada. Now, and I really, the cover, this is a hardcover, and the cover's very tactile. It has sort of a bit of a rough sort of feel to it. It's a really lovely tactile book. Great size. What have we got? Nothing exciting on the end papers, and just a lovely sort of sky blue, baby blue perhaps, linen look. And yes, Marty Wingate is a Seattle native, and she lives in England. But yeah, no, look, it was really good. And this, oh, sorry, I've forgotten to give you the pages. I'm zoning out for a little bit there. It's around about 323 pages. So a good read, comfy read. Okay, last week I told you all about the Australian writer Victoria Perman. I showed you the women's pages. This is The Land Girls. Our protagonist is Flora Atkins, I think. I think it's Flora Atkins. She works in an office during the war, and finds herself with she has a brother and a father. Through various means, she finds herself having to be shipped off to Mildura in Victoria. It starts off in Melbourne in as I say, in the 1940s. I think it's 42 or 43 from memory. And through various things happening, she finds herself being shipped off to Mildura, which is, if you look on the map of Victoria, for those of you who don't know, let's just say this is Victoria and we're here at Bendigo and there's Melbourne down here. Mildura is up here. So it's sort of, we're in a bit of a triangle, and it's closer to the shorter side of the triangle, and it's hot. Historically they have grown a lot of citrus fruit up there, but it's So she, 1940s, she finds herself shipped up to Mildura and befriends a couple of the land girls. And there are some things that go on. This is a really good, comfy read. I enjoy Victoria Perman. Now, this is Harlequin Press. Let me just give you the details. I think I said to you last week that this is 2019, and is HQ Fiction, which is an imprint of Harlequin Enterprises. I think I told you last week that she also wrote one of her most famous, which is The Last of the Bonegilla Girls. She's a lovely, comfy, cozy read. I enjoyed this, and the other thing I have to tell you is it's approximately it's not telling me. Hang on, everyone. No, that's the next Bonegilla Girls. This is approximately 445 pages. So I recommend that. It's lovely. Now, something for a little bit different. I am not a big fan of fantasy. And over the last couple of years, I have decided to extend my comfort zone and venture into the world of fantasy. I started with an Australian author, Garth Nix. Now, he wrote The Left-Handed Booksellers of London. He's an Australian. And then the follow-up to that is The Sinister Booksellers of Bath, set in the UK, of course. These are by Allen and Unwin. Now, I'll give you the first one, The Left-Handed Booksellers of London. This is approximately 392 pages. I would say anyone really. It's really. Sorry, that's our chickens. It's really suitable for anyone, but probably most enjoyed between the ages of 12 and 90. I really enjoyed it. It was my first venture into fiction. Into fantasy fiction. I really enjoyed Garth Nix books. Now, he is an Australian, but they are set in England. We have booksellers who are sort of undercover magicians, I guess, and sorcerers. And there are things that go on. They have to, it's that good and evil type scenario. These were really good. I recommend them. If you're not into fantasy, but you would like to have a try, I would recommend this. Garth Nix has done a great job. He is, again, an established author. I'm not too sure what else he has written. I read these a couple of years ago. Oh, he has also written Angel Mage. I have not read that one, but it's not telling me anything else here. Sorry, everyone. Now you're getting the whole orchestra. So there are both around about the 330 page. They can hear me speaking, and they're obviously wanting to join in the conversation. No, it's not telling me any of the other books that he has written, but he has written quite a few, I think. So if you're not into fantasy, but you would like to perhaps extend your reading genre, I would recommend these. They're fantastic. An Australian author too. Now, another sort of Australian author, she actually began her life in the UK, and I think she lived in the US as well. But she now lives in Australia and has done for about 25 or 30 years. Her name is Kate Nunn. This is The Forgotten Letters of Esther Durant. This is Esther's mother is committed to a mental asylum. There are letters that was in the 1950s. We are then brought into the 2018, I think it is, and there are letters that are found, and of course there's a bit of a mystery. So we go between 1950 or 1951 and the year 2018. It's a really good read, very well written. Now I think this is by Harlequin actually. I love the cover. I think the cover is beautiful, and also what I really love about this, is the end papers. They're pretty too. So, and that's Kate herself. There she is there. No, actually this is by Hachette. That I can just see that on the back of the book there. And this, I think this was 2019. I have had it for a few years. Let me have a look. Yes, 2019 this was published. She has written a couple of others. She wrote The Botanist's Daughter, which was also was one of her most famous, and was a really good read, but we can talk about that another day. This one is really good. It's sort of in the the likes of my favourite. Who is she? One of my favourites. Kate Morton. It's written on the back here. Kate Morton and even Elizabeth Gilbert. She's recognised as being sort of in the league of those and the style of those two writers. Look, I really loved it. If you're wanting... now, actually, if I can remember, you will... Please forgive me, because it is a few years since I read this. I think it is set in London. It begins in London. But I think... Does it go to Australia? I think it actually moves to Australia. No, it's London. It's telling me here from my memory. It is a few years since I read it. Yeah, it's set in London. So, but a really good read. And as I say, Kate is English. I think she was born in England, but she has been living in Australia for a number of years. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh, let me give you the lowdown. Sorry, everyone. I'm jumping from one thing to another. Everything's distracting me. I have flies. I've got geese talking to me. So around about 371 pages. So that's really a really good read. So we have a great read there. That's Kate Nunn. We have Garth Nix if you are thinking of delving into the fantasy world, or you're not a fantasy fan but you may like to try something a bit different, or you need something to read, I would definitely recommend Garth Nix. I think he certainly it's more believable, although it has that fantasy, that magical world. It's more realistic and more believable as fantasy can be. And I like his style of writing. He's very good with setting a time and place and the magic and giving you that experience. I really enjoyed him. Again, Victoria Perman, you know I like her. She's an Australian story, Australian author. Well worth the read. English, Marty Wingate, The Bodies in the Library. There is a series. This is a series, by the way. There are a few others. Actually, I don't know if I can give you... Perhaps I will give you any details either in the description box below or in the subtitles. But that's a really good, comfy, cozy read, and one that I really, really recommend is One Bright Morning by Wendy Scarf. Australian author, Australian story again, Australian independent publisher. Now, one thing I will tell you about this, if you are interested, particularly if you are in Australia, this is on special for $10 at Abby's Bookshop. Remembering they have a few on sale at the moment, a few different books. Remembering it's only, I think it's $9.90 for, it doesn't matter how many books you buy, but it's $9.90 for Australian shipping. So I would add this to your list. If there are any left, I recommend it. It was, as I say, I think it was $10. A really, really good read. You will love it. I'm pretty sure I can promise you that. It was great. Okay, everyone, I will leave you, but not yet. We have our birthday coming up, our anniversary or our first birthday on, I think it's Wednesday the 6th of November. My intention is to have a video that morning to celebrate our birthday or our anniversary. It has been an amazing year, so I want to share that with you. I'm going to probably have a little bit of bubbly, but please join me with whatever beverage or, you know, whatever takes your fancy. I may even buy a cake with a birthday candle, and we'll have a little bit of a celebration. My intention is perhaps in the next few days, or certainly before the 6th, is if you're interested in perhaps winning a book or some other prize that we will have on offer, email me at ostbooktravels@yahoo.com. Just tell me that you're interested, and what I may do is for all of those people who email me, I may put your name in a hat, and we will draw your name or a name out of the hat and perhaps win a prize on the day. Yeah, as I say, my intention is I will video in the morning, have it up as quickly as I can that day so that we can all at least celebrate on the same day. Further to that, what I would like to do is that video will just be about our birthday, so it won't be about the books necessarily. We won't be doing a book recommendation. It won't be entirely about that. What I do... Thank you. What I do want to do is give you, for those who have joined the channel, for those of you who don't really know me, I want to give you a bit of background as to who I am and why I started this channel and what our ideas are for the future. We want you to come along, if you're a viewer or a subscriber, we want you to come along on that journey because this really has been a wonderful experience and is a wonderful experience. It has also been wonderful to meet you all, whether you have made comments or whether you have emailed. I have truly appreciated your support and your wonderful positive comments. You're wonderful. It's a great community. I love it. And the whole idea of this is we do want to get more of you. We want to get more subscribers and more viewers so that we can promote Australia, the real Australia, not the touristy Australia, the real Australia, our flora, our fauna, our architecture, our history, all along with the books, and really promoting Australian authors, Australian publishing houses, Australian stories. That is the whole premise of this channel. So I will explain all of that and we can have a chat. We're not big enough yet as a channel to have a live interaction with you, but you will be able to comment obviously on well, you can comment at any time, but on our birthday video you will comment, and I will stay online so that I can almost message you immediately. So yes, if you are interested in perhaps being part of a competition on our birthday, which is the 6th of November, you're more than welcome to email me now at osbooktravels@yahoo.com. And just let me know if you're interested. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. We're more than happy to have a book or a gift shipped to you. Just let me know. And yeah. Also, we had, if you haven't viewed already, we had our results for our book competition. There were 4 winners. We had a few entries, not a lot, but we did have a few entries, and we decided that because 2 entries from the Northern Hemisphere literally came in at exactly the same time, so close, they were attached to each other. So we decided that we really needed to give 2 prizes for the Northern Hemisphere, and to be fair, we would give 2 prizes to the most correct and also the earliest submitted Southern Hemisphere book entries as well. So 4 prizes all up. I will, if you haven't already seen the book competition video, I will be emailing the winners over the next little while, maybe the next few days, and just so that I can get all your details correct, your mailing details and the book, the genre of book that you want, and then we can organise to have those sent out to you. Thank you to all who participated. It was wonderful. It was really interesting and exciting, and I hope you all enjoyed it. We will hopefully make that a yearly event. So if you missed out this time, you may win it next year. And also we have the hopefully prizes to be won on our birthday. I'm sure you've had enough of the geese honking, so I will leave it for there. If there is anything that I have missed in this video, I will perhaps put anything that I've missed in the description box below, or I will try and remember either in the travel video on Saturday or the next book recommendation. The next book recommendation will be the Monday before the Wednesday of our birthday. So there will be the travel video on Saturday, the book recommendation on Monday, and our birthday video on Wednesday. Please join us. Please join us for every one of them. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. It is free. You just have to press a few buttons. That and liking and sharing does help us promote the channel. It helps us promote Australia. It eventually will help us bring more content to you in the future. So we can travel around to other states. We can go to more pet-friendly accommodation, and show you more wonderful Australian stories and authors. We don't just show Australian authors and stories. I read a whole plethora of books. But we are really keen on promoting Australia and Australian authors, Australian stories. So, that all having been said, I don't know how long this video is, but I'm hoping that you have all stayed to the end. Please, if you do like any of the videos on this channel, do like, share and subscribe. If you are a publishing house and you would like us, your Australian publishing house, and you would like us to help promote your Australian authors and your Australian publishing house, we would more than happy to do that. And for our birthday too, I'm thinking of a few special little things in the video. So it won't just be me talking. I'm hoping to take you to a couple of little places. Fingers crossed, if it all works out, I'm hoping to take you. So it will hopefully be a real special birthday. It is our first birthday. It has been an amazing year for me particularly. I hope it has been wonderful for you. I hope you are, even if you have just found the channel, there are many videos on the channel. If you just click into the little profile photo, that will take you to the channel. There are many videos on at the moment around Victoria and some in New South Wales, and of course we have the book recommendation, and I occasionally do a sneaky midweeker. So that may entail us going to a garden somewhere, or just going for a walk and showing you the flora and fauna, or even here. The last one I uploaded for you was we are renovating our chicken run, which reminds me I do have to upload a new one to show you what we have or haven't done so far. Okay, everyone, thank you for listening. If you have stayed to the end, thank you. We really do appreciate all of you watching, all of you subscribing, and all your comments. I can't say it enough. It's wonderful. It really does help us, and it gives us such a boost. So thank you. Okay, everyone, eat well. I'm going to have my cuppa now once I turn the camera off. Eat well, happy reading, safe travels. Do take care of yourself wherever you are in the world. These are really trying times. We've had trying times for a few years now. But there are a lot of beautiful people in the world doing wonderful, magical things, and we can always read a book and transport ourselves to a wonderful place or a different time, and really help with our mental health and our positivity in life. So take care, everyone. Bye for now.